a lot of questions and I'm doing a lot of traveling inside of the international markets about how do we diversify a little bit more? How do you utilize the international real estate arm of what Keystone does? Let's talk about some of the things that you need to know because it may or may not be as easy as you think. International real estate investing essentially is designed to diversify your investment portfolio. Potentially, you can earn higher returns because you're dealing with a different sort of country under different rules and under different understandings. The importance to conduct through research and be able to seek professional advisement is what's going to help you with these types of investment decisions. This will allow you to minimize your risk and to make sure that the decisions you're making are going to align to your future strategy, which is what we were all hoping and expecting you to be able to do. What we're going to talk about today is going to give you the insights on how the international real estate lines, the pros and the cons, and some of the factors that you probably need to consider since there are differences in property rights, tax implications, financial options, and the best places for your international real estate investing to potentially begin. So where is it? What type of investing is going to be involved that you need to acquire and manage real estate properties outside of your country of origin? And in our case at Keystone, it's here in the US. These types of investments can actually take several different forms: residential, commercial, industrial, even. There are different types of properties and just straight land. As a real estate investor, you might acquire different assets through direct ownership, through partnership agreements, investment trusts, or even depending on your preference and your investment goals, you might be able to make inter-country negotiations that will help you work with agents and with partners inside the country that are looking to do either a trade or a pass-through back to the US. Several pros and cons that you do need to be aware of when you're dealing internationally. And most recently, we've done deals inside of Puerto Rico, and we've had in-depth meetings with agents inside of the Dominican Republic, trying to expand where we do business as a company. International investing will offer attractive returns in countries like these. It will help you with the diversification, but you need to be aware of regulatory hurdles, currency fluctuations, cultural differences to what we're doing. I'm going to give you some pros and some cons that may be some things that you want to consider. First off, portfolio and currency diversification is a huge pro. Buying at the right timing when the financial market dips, so you're getting more value to the dollar if you're buying here from the US. And then, of course, on the cons side, you need to make sure you have legal representation inside of that country, because the regulatory complexities may not be what you're used to or what you have previously considered in your investment strategy in the US. There are tax benefits, tax incentives, lower property taxes, even low capital gains taxes inside of foreign nations. They are typically looking to incentivize you as a US investor or an external investor to try to get you into their market. But you need to be aware of, again, fluctuations in economic growth, employment, and even inflation inside their country will be very different than what you're experiencing here in the US. And take it for that. Take all your political expectations or political feelings off the table. These are business opportunities. So if you see that by the numbers, the United States is doing better, that means the United States is going to be in a stronger position than most of the foreign countries that you're going to negotiate in. The United States has a tendency, when we're doing well, everybody does well. So take advantage of the upswing and try not to buy at the very peak. Buying in foreign countries can also bring you some residency perks. You can obtain permits for residency or for citizenship, depending on the nation. But it will also potentially put you and your currency at risk during fluctuations. So you're not just, like you're doing here in the US, you're not just looking at what the value of your property is. In a foreign country, you're also looking at the value of the dollar and how is that particular currency fluctuating up or down, which will also change the value of your property. And then, of course, it gives you some very easy portfolio growth. Dominican Republic, which I was just at recently, you can buy 4 to 5 properties of similar size to the prices that you can do here in Florida. It's very different. They are a developing nation. They have a lot of things going on inside of their development strategy. There are a lot of real estate agents there. It's not quite the Wild West that the South American nations have been of recent, but the distance between you will make it a little bit harder to conduct normal due diligences. So you either want a real estate firm that has international experience, or you want to be able to make a trip yourself to these countries so that you can put your hands on the physical, at least for your first purchase, if not for the first couple of them. Create a good partnership with the agents that you're working with. And I personally advise you to work with an agent here in the US as well as an agent in that country. Hopefully they have agreements between them already, so you can work with companies that already have those things in place. Save you a whole lot of interview time, and those relationships are already built, so you can take advantage. Other factors that you should probably consider when investing internationally. Investing in any foreign country can certainly be lucrative. However, it comes with challenges that will make it considerably more difficult. We talked about, when you're investing in real estate here in the US, how it's a great investment, but it has a runway to it. It's not like you have immediate liquid access to the money that you need whenever it's time to sell a property. That's not how it works. You have timing. Based on that timing and the amount of time that you need to be able to sell and liquidate that property may not be exactly where you want it to be either. So it's a longer game, and it is an evaluation of your investment, not a liquid propertization of your investment. So things that you want to consider when you're doing that abroad is multiplied even more so. Factor number one, your market analysis and your research. You need to conduct comprehensive market research. You need to make absolutely sure that you're making informed investment decisions, including analyzing the entire country's market, economic indicators that are going down, trade agreements that will affect them directly with the United States, demographic trends that are happening, and infrastructure development. There can be a lot of housing built because there's a housing need, but if there are no infrastructure updates, Dominican Republic, again, is a perfect example. They have a huge need for houses. They have been hit year after year in the last 3 years, particularly by hurricanes, and they are still doing a lot of infrastructure rebuilding. If they complete that infrastructure rebuild at a greater capacity or at a higher level of sustainment, it will be very lucrative for those that are buying some of these newer condos and newer homes that are being built closer to these new infrastructures that are being created. A lot of new roads, a lot of new access from the airport. Proximity to the airport is getting better. Proximity to resorts and how quick things can be done. Can these properties be used as Airbnbs or temporary rentals? These are all things that are very important to how the conversations work. Foreign real estate investors also need to familiarize themselves with local laws and regulations. These will significantly impact property acquisition, how you're able to manage it, and ultimately how you're able to sell it when that time comes. You need to be aware of the local property laws, zoning regulations, taxes, legal requirements. By understanding all of these, or by working with someone in country, you're going to be able to feel more prepared, knowledgeable, reduce the risk of legal complications, and ultimately put yourself in good standing when it's time to negotiate the buying and the selling of these properties. Eligibility. Buying property in certain countries can be very complex because of the explicit prohibitions on foreign nationals. For example, owning land in Thailand is not possible for foreigners, unlike Italy, where there are no restrictions on property ownership. There are tons of articles on global property rights. There's a great international property rights article out there that I can cue you into. If you want to send me messages in the DM section, I'm happy to forward that your way. For those of you that are joining us live, make sure to like and subscribe and certainly comment. At the end of the show today, we'll certainly get those answered and make sure that you have access to all this information that we do our research from. Financing options is the next thing you need to consider. Obtaining financing for international real estate can be complicated. The reluctance by local banks to lend to foreign investors and the strict lending requirements of international banks makes it very difficult. To overcome this challenge, as a U.S. investor, consider exploring some financial options like international lenders in the U.S. or private financing. To learn more about private financing, we wrote an article about a year ago now, Ways to Finance International Investments. It was a great article. I have not had to use it myself yet, but with some of the looking that we are doing inside of South America, I will probably have to employ that article myself here very soon. And then back to currency. You need to know the risks of currency fluctuation. Currencies between two countries when purchasing a property in another country is incredibly important.